Thank you. I guess I'm disappointed here with a fan next to me, so you guys might be a bit jealous now. I'm very happy to be in Belgium. I found that we have good beer, but also have the fountain for Sapientia. I did touch my hand there, and let's see what happens to my scientific profile over the year. I don't know if it's a brain drainer or something that to be added to it, so let's see how that works. I've been going through a typical scientific outline for this presentation, and the general scope of my talk has to do with analyzing phenotypes for feed efficiency and how these phenotypes handle different conditions of weather in a very practical manner, like under a feedlot in Canada during the winter time and spring. So the scientific question that I have been pursuing throughout my career is very simple. It's basically why two animals of the same breed, fed in the same way, subject to the same husbandry, with the same weight and body composition, they do differ in feed efficiency. So that's the question that we have been working on, and there is a huge room there for studying physiological parameters around that. So the model that's used for evaluating feed efficiency, it is residual feed intake. This is not new at all. The idea of regressing intake on body size, growth, and productivity goes back to almost a century ago. In cattle, we have the first studies on that in the 1960s. And what we're doing different today is like boosting those models with information about composition of the animal, which helps a lot to partition the gain of the animal. And what we really care about from all this mathematics, it is the biology behind it. So this is a very simple schematic representation of what is residual feed intake. So basically the animal will be consume a certain amount of nutrients that will be absorbed, goes to production traits, another chunk goes to the maintenance requirements. So the less nutrients goes towards maintenance, more we have available for production. That's simple like that. And then the animal that's better in using nutrients for performance will be an efficient animal that I like to use an angel cow for that. And the one that is not so good on that, that has more maintenance, that would be the little devil cow. And I have been studying these like in many different ways. There is certainly more than a handful of biomarkers that we've been through already. So we have been looking at behavior traits, at organ and cell traits. We have been shopping different organs, collecting, weighing the gross weight, look at molecular, look at histological aspects, and so on. So we have been doing a lot of that too. I have been doing a lot of calorimetry to the analysis of the breath gas, so indirect calorimetry, heat balance, different ways including infrared imaging, and a list of body fluids. We do like to collect the juices and see how that relates to performance traits. But today, we're doing something much easier in life. You'll be really basically observe the animals, let them be. Not quite as these cute English cows on a Sunday afternoon grazing, but like in a feedlot in Canada. And then we'll be checking quite a few of the weather parameters and see how those relate to their performance. So for hypothesis in this study, we know that the weather impacts behavioral and metabolic process, and because feed efficiency is associated to metabolism, it is reasonable to hypothesize that the distinct phenotypes for feed efficiency will have a different response to weather conditions, and that will also be affected their behaviors, will be mirrored, will be translated to their behaviors, to the feeding behaviors. So for these studies, we had just over 100 animals. They are feedlot steers. We test these animals for 112 days, and that was over the Canadian winter and a little bit of the spring. We check the weights every 14 days and the body composition every 20 days with ultrasound scan. This is the barn that we used for running this study. The barn was bedded with wood shavings, was equipped with automated feeding system for Netherlands, and the feed was refilled twice. These animals are subject to feedlot ration with just over 50% of high moisture corn and alfalfa. So the barn was located about 460 meters from a weather station, and that station was equipped with a long list of tools there. And for this particular study, we really care about the temperature, humidity, pressure, and sunshine. So that's the main parameter that we look at this stage. So when it comes to feed intake information, we did calculate three feeding behaviors that were the time of the feeder, the intake per visit, and also the number of visits, so for each animal and on a daily basis. We also stored the data in relation to the period of the day, so all the way from sunrise, the daytime, sunset, and nighttime. And also, for curiosity, we also check the feeding status, like what happens when you give them a new feed or when they have the old feed left from the new feed. Just more for curiosity, as I said. The calculation of residual feed intake was done by accounting for body size and growth at the top, and then we have a fatness traits, so 3 of them, and then a trait to indicate about leanness. And what's not explained by those pods was our physiological variability, or the RFI. When it comes to stats, we did something relatively simple with this study. We shot our population into a population for feed efficiency in 3 groups. So we have the efficient animals, the inefficient, and then the ones in the middle. I didn't have a better animal to represent the average, so I used octopus just because I like them. But it's basically the ones that are not efficient and not inefficient. They just sit in the middle. And then when it comes to stats, we did a calculation of the descriptive stats, and then use the proper mixing for evaluating the feeding behaviors. And our general model is quite simple. We have the class for feed efficiency, the period of the day, the feeding status, and then the continuous variables will be the temperature, pressure, humidity, and their respective interactions. We calculate the slopes for each of those classes of RFI, and also calculate the LS means for generating some bar graphs. So moving to the initial results here, it's always important to highlight how important it is having different phenotypes for feed efficiency, and that's what I have on the top there. So efficient animals are consuming about 0.85 less drug intake a day, and then the inefficient plus 0.82 kilograms of matter a day. So when you translate that to the pipeline, the second box there it represents what that amount has to do with S-fed basis. So 140 kilos of those guys there per animal, and 138 for these. So the gap between those animals is about 280 kilos a day for having the same performance, same carcass and all that. And then when you translate that through the feedlot phase, to that period, I got a difference of about $45 just to feed efficiency, and plus a long list of environmental benefits. So yes, if you can identify the good cows, certainly can help a lot the economical and the environmental sustainability of the production. And for the variables, I just want to highlight to you that these animals are exposed to a range of about 40 degrees temperature, from -22 to +26. So it is a big range that they had to handle back in Canada. So looking to the first graph with the slopes, every time that I show you a dashed line, that means that the slope wasn't significant. So we can see that as you increase temperature, the time spent per visit at the feeder, it really decreased for the inefficient and for the average animals, while the efficient animals weren't affected by that. So that's an interesting observation. And then look at the temperature versus intake per visit. You could see that the lines are they have this distinct slope, they're going in different directions. And the 3 slopes, in this case, they were significant. So there is a few changes, a few differences according to these phenotypes when it comes to the effects of temperature on their intake per visit. And then when you look to the temperature and number of visits, it's interesting to see that the 3 curves, they follow the same pattern, so they're pretty much responding to that. That rate was responding to that in a very similar fashion. Humidity, it seems that the inefficient animals have a real problem with humidity. The inefficient ones, they really drop their intake as you increase humidity, while the other 2 classes weren't affected by that. And then pressure, it seems that pressure in time of feeder, as you increase pressure, they spend more time at the feeding bunk. And as expected, the number of visits will also decrease as you increase the pressure, just in response to the previous variable. So basically, just to put this together, it seems that the less efficient animals, they'll be eating less at high temperatures, and also they have less intake at high temperatures and high humidity. So this data is suggesting to us that these animals are more sensitive to weather changes, which might really impact their maintenance requirements. I feel that they have a harder time to keep up with their homeostasis due to the effects of weather. When it comes to the effects of the groups over the periods of the day, we didn't observe any difference on that. So it doesn't matter for those three feeding traits, if it's day, night, sunrise, and sunset, the patterns are quite identical across the three phenotypes for feed efficiency. However, one thing that we observed that was quite interesting, and this is not weather related, but it's really behavior related, is that we observed that when you have a new feed or old feed, like you can see the bar for the efficient animals, it doesn't matter if it's new or old feed, their time at the feeder is the same. So they have the VIP card to the feeder bank any time of the day. While when you see the line for the inefficient animal, you see that when they have the new feed, their bar was lower, and then when they got the old feed, then the bar was higher. So maybe that's when they had the opportunity to get there. And also have an interesting response for the average animals. They kind of follow up the efficient animals, and then so basically, I feel that when you have fresh feed, efficient and average animals have the priority, and then the inefficient ones need to wait a bit, basically. And this is interesting because from the same animals, we published a paper a couple of years ago observing their fecal cortisol levels, which is like is a good indicator of chronic effects on the adrenal system. And we could observe that the feed efficient animals for the entire period, so 12 times 14 days here, they did have higher levels of fecal cortisol level. And when I saw that, that really reminded me about a paper on bison, that they observed that bisons that they do have more calves in a herd, they also have higher cortisol. So it means that to be in charge, to be in control of the females, they are stressed. So I think that something's happened to my animals here, to be in charge of the feeder, you need some extra power, some extra control. And so in conclusion, both temperature and humidity didn't affect at all the life of the efficient animal. And the same cannot be said about the inefficient animals. They do have a harder time dealing with that. Atmospheric pressure seems to affect two phenotypes in a very similar fashion. And the observation, the behavior observation that we had here of that feed efficient relates to getting served at the dinner table first has a lot of interesting management implications that we should be pursuing. I would like to acknowledge now this funding support for this study, and also if you want to talk more about that, those are my contacts. And at the moment we are recruiting a PhD student at the North Dakota State University, so if you are anyone or if you know somebody that might be looking for a PhD, please come talk to me. Thank you.
There is time for one or two questions. You plan to study the physiological mechanism underlying difference between the two lines?
Yes, actually, we do have the full metabolic profile of those animals, collected every 1 hour for 24 hours. So we're just starting to scratch that data, and then there should be some more interesting stuff in there as well.
Okay. Question? Yes.
Thank you so much for a nice presentation. Maybe you mentioned, but did the animals, each of the animals have exact feeder or several animals to one feeder? I think because they have competition.
Yeah, the ratio there is 4:1. So 16 animals per pen and 4 feeders per pen. So that's how it works. Normally automated system like that.
Okay. And check also for if they are pushing each other or?
Actually, like visually, being at the farm, you could always see that the efficient animals would be the first ones to be there, and they would just be respected. They just have their meal, and when they're done, they move out, and then comes the next guy. So basically, that's how they did that. So see that there is a hierarchy within each plan.
Hello, Jordana Rivero, runs the research. Thanks for the presentation. I have a question about the MET data. You said that the data you used were in a MET station outside the barn. Do you think that if you put some sensors inside the barn, those results might be different?
Well, like our barn, I think that there's probably a scale factor, but in general, like if it's minus 25 outside, it might be minus 22 in the barn. You know what I mean? So the accuracy isn't there, but the general effect of the temperatures, like maybe the lines are not matching, but we probably are representing that very well. Yeah, and yes, like if I had the money and I could come back, I would certainly put a lot more sensors in there as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.